Okay, I got a question. Let me close this. I have a question for all of y'all. This will be a separate video. But out of our infinite universe with billions of other suns just like ours, how many of you think that we are the only life out of these infinite universes and billions of other suns? I know a lot of people do, and I think that's just completely shallow thinking. I mean, thinking that we're the only ones and God only created us, that kind of thing. But it's just kind of bizarre to think that we're the only life. Got a couple little stories that happened to me when probably I was a teenager, or actually when I was actually married too. My wife and I grew up in Illinois, and when we first got married, we lived in a little village, and that's where I grew up, in this same little village of probably 300 people. But anyway, let me get by this. Things just pulled over. I was standing out in my yard. I had a chain link fence around my yard, and I was standing out there talking to my neighbor, and we both happened to look up, and there's something flying over. The only thing that came to my mind, it wasn't an airplane because it didn't make any noise, but it looked like it kind of looked like one of those things that pull those banners or signs. But it wasn't, and we were so busy talking, I didn't really pay attention. But anyway, the next day in the newspaper, it said UFO spotted over street or where I lived. But anyway, another time when we were teenagers, that same little village at that time had an old grocery store that wasn't open anymore, but it had steps. And when we were teenagers, that'd be the hangout. Be about 10, 12 of us sitting on those steps smoking cigarettes. This was the 70s, so pretty much everybody smoked cigarettes. So anyway, it was nighttime, and a block away was a church. Had the steeple on top with a cross on top. Let me get over this. People tailgating me when I can't pass fast enough. But anyway, we were all sitting there, and we happened to look down the street at this church, and there's this big, huge, red, glowing light. I mean, huge. It's probably about as big as the church. And just big, huge, glowing red light above the church. And we're all sitting there, and we go, God, I just took off, and I wanted to go run and see what it was. And we all ran down there, and we just, heads down running, and we look up, and it's gone. So that was kind of bizarre. And I know you watch a lot of these programs, and a lot of them kind of say the same thing about the big red light kind of thing. But anyway, just my thought. I mean, I totally believe that we are not alone in this entire universe, and I honestly believe that they've been... my wife thinks I'm nuts because she doesn't believe in it, but I don't know. I think that's pretty small thinking, So you got to know if they have technology to reach us, if they meant us harm, we'd be gone, which is because we don't have the technology barely to get to the moon. We did, but it's been many years ago. So anyway, just a thought. What do you guys think? Bah. I just thought of another story. My wife and I were on the bike, I think it was 2 years ago. We were coming home from Colorado and came through Roswell. And of course I had to go see that museum, which is a total waste of $5. But anyway, while we were there, there's an older gentleman that just struck up a conversation with me. He's probably in his late 60s. But he was telling me and my wife that when he was younger, I forgot where they lived, Kansas or whatever, but he was working the night shift, and he had a little bit longer drive home. But he said he was driving home, and this thing was following him in the air, this like, I don't know what he called it, saucer or whatever, but it was following him. It followed him all the way home, and he got home, and it stayed hovering above his barn. And he says, you get out and it had windows. And he says exactly how everybody says that they see these aliens that are these big gray, they're gray and they have the big heads. He says, that's exactly what I saw in these windows. You could see them looking out, and he said you could see them walking. They were that close, you could see them walking through the ship. And he said he ran in and woke up his entire family and says, you got to come out here and see this. And his wife got up and come out and saw it, and all his kids got up and come out and saw it. So while we were still there, I asked his wife, well, what did you think? Did you see it? He goes, oh yeah, he woke us all up. We had to all go out and look at it. So it's exactly what he said it was. Geez, all those Harleys, not one of them waved.